Hey Southwest students, today we're going to look at day 21 of your AMI activities for grade 8. So, the first thing we need to know is that this week you are going to have a joint assignment with social studies and English. So, you will go to your social studies Google Classroom to complete this assignment for both English and social studies. Okay? So, for day 1, we are going to start working on a 2020 pandemic journal. Okay, so this is a project that's going to go for the next 2 weeks, and you are going to be journaling about your life during this pandemic. So, project overview, directions. The following assignment combines your social studies and English classes into one class. So, you're going to do one assignment that's going to count for social studies and English. Your job is to report the changes you see as your community, the country, and the world respond to COVID-19 or the coronavirus. Your unique daily observations will serve as primary sources to the people in the future, which means people in the future are going to use your firsthand account to let them know what it was like living during this pandemic. Be authentic, be honest, and be reflective. Pay attention to the details. Each day, take note of what you are seeing and hearing on the news, among your friends, within your family, and in your community. Feel free to use video, written language, poetry, sketches, or other means of expression as you document your experience during this global pandemic. The questions below are to guide your thinking, but you are encouraged to ask your own questions too. As you reflect on your own experiences, you will also study and reflect on pandemics of the past, and you will analyze how you have developed through this experience. And this assignment was inspired by this teacher, Brian Shaw. So, day 21, these are your expectations, okay? So, reading requirement is to see the ELA and social studies chunked articles at the bottom of this packet. Read sections 1 and 2 of article number 1. Also, feel free to do any additional research of your choosing and add it into your journal. So, if you go to the bottom of this, I linked it over here to make it a little bit easier. It's on page 12, and I've highlighted what you're going to read. So, for day 1, you're going to read sections 1 and 2 of this. Okay, so let's go ahead and start reading this article together. So it says, primary source, a priest tells about the Black Death, 1348, by Henry Knighton, adapted by Newsella. So, number 1, a primary source is a historical document written or created during the event being studied. You are about to read a primary source about the bubonic plague or the Black Death. It was written by Henry Knighton, a historian and priest at St. Mary's in England. Okay, so the question out to the right says, what kind of primary sources do you think people will examine in the future to learn about the current COVID-19 outbreak? So your answer should start with, I believe in the future people will blank. Okay. Section 2. The Black Death was one of the worst plagues that spread death to many countries. From 75 million to 200 million people in Eurasia and Europe died in the years between 1346 and 1353. The Black Death is thought to have come from rats and started in the plains of Central Asia. It moved west along the Silk Road, maybe with Mongol troops reaching Eastern Europe by 1343. Cargo ships bringing riches from the east also brought rats that had a bacteria, Yersinia pestis, in their blood. Fleas on the rats bit them and drank the blood filled with Yersinia pestis. Fleas then jumped onto humans and bit them. The Yersinia pestis began killing humans by attacking the lungs and turning them to liquid. A cough spread the bacteria to other humans. The bacteria could also stop the blood from clotting, causing victims to bleed to death. Touching the blood or body of a sick person also spread the Black Death, which got its name because many victims were covered with black boils. There were at least 2 kinds of plague: pneumonic, which is lung plague, or bubonic, which is a clotting plague. So the question out to the side, what similarities do you see in the way the plague and COVID-19 both spread. Underline your evidence. You can underline your evidence if you have the paper packet. Otherwise, you might highlight it if you're doing it on a computer. So the plague and COVID-19 are similar because they both blank. Okay, now that we've read the article, let's scroll back up to the top and see what we're doing today. So after scrolling to the top, we are going to look at your guided questions for journal. Now, before I read the questions out to the side, so you're going to see those questions again. Okay, so question number 1, describe how you first learned of the coronavirus. And your answer might start with, I remember first hearing of the coronavirus when blank. At first, I felt blank. Number 2, how have you, your family, and friends responded to the coronavirus and social distancing so far? Your answer might start, as of right now, social distancing has inspired us to blank. Number 3, after reading the chunks of the article, consider the following questions. And these are the 2 questions that we read out to the side, but I'll read them one more time. What kind of primary sources do you think people will examine in the future to learn about the current COVID-19 outbreak? And your answer might start, I believe in the future people will blank. And then number 2, what similarities do you see in the way the plague and COVID-19 both spread? Underline your evidence if you're doing it on paper, or highlight your evidence if you're doing it on the computer. So the plague and COVID-19 are similar because they both blank. And then the last thing you're going to do is begin constructing a Venn diagram to analyze similarities and differences between the Black Death and COVID-19 outbreaks. You will continue to add to this diagram over the next few days. So on paper, you should write the title Black Death and COVID-19. And if you've never done a Venn diagram before, you have 2 circles that overlap. I would label one Black Death and one COVID-19, and then whatever's similar goes in the middle. So how are the Black Death and COVID-19 similar? That goes in the middle here, and then the differences you're going to put in each outer circle. So whatever is only pertains to the Black Death, you're going to put it here. What only pertains to COVID-19, you're going to put here. Okay? As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your social studies teacher or your English teachers, and we would be more than happy to help you. Hey Southwest students, so now I'm going to show you how to complete Day 21 activity. So after meeting with your social studies teachers and your English teachers, we decided an easy way to complete this assignment would be to fill out a Google form each day. So for Day 21, you're going to fill out this Google form, and I'm going to go along as if I am a student and fill it out with you so I can show you how to turn it in to both your social studies and your English teachers. So let's just follow along with me and you can do it as I'm doing it. So the title is 8th grade AMI Day 21 activity. Mine says teacher example because I'm going to fill it out. Yours will not say teacher example though. Instructions say, answer your daily assignment on this Google Doc. Use the daily AMI video attached to help you out if you need it. You will answer each day's journal entry for social studies and English on a Google form attached in your social studies Google Classroom. So you will not go to your English classroom to complete work. You will complete your work in your social studies Google Classroom, okay? You will have to send a copy of your responses to your English teacher. So the reason I'm filling out this form with you is so that when we get to the end, I can show you how to send it to your English teacher. Once you submit each day's journal entry here, it will email you a copy of your responses. You need to then forward that email to your English teacher to receive credit for both subjects. So if you don't forward that email to your English teacher, we will have no way of knowing that, and so we will think that you didn't do it. So it's very, very, very important that you send that email to your English teacher when you finish, okay? And then it says your email address will be recorded when you submit this form, which is what you want because it will send a copy to your email, and that's my email address. So when I'm finished with this and I submit it, I will get my answers in my email. So the first thing you want to do is put your name please put your first and last name because we have a lot of students with the same name. So there is my name, first and last. There is a description of the journal, and since I've already read this, I want to keep this video as short as possible. So we've already read that, so if you need me to read it again, just go back earlier in the video and you'll see that. Okay? Now these questions are exactly the same questions on your AMI packet, which we've already read, but I will read them again. So describe how you first learned of coronavirus or COVID-19. And then your answer could look like this. I remember first hearing of coronavirus when blank. At first, I felt blank. So I'm not going to type an answer here because I want you to do the work. So I'm just going to put ASDF. So that way it has an answer. Okay. Second question, how have you, your family, and friends responded to the coronavirus and social distancing so far? Your answer might look like this. As of right now, social distancing has inspired us to blank. So once again, I don't want to type an answer. I want you to do the work, so I'm just going to put ASDF. And then they included the article. This is what you're reading for day 21. I've read this in the earlier video, so just go back where I've read it. And then we're going to answer these questions here. So question number 1, this question is this question. What kind of primary sources do you think people will examine in the future to learn about the current COVID-19 outbreak? I believe in the future people will, once again, ASDF. Please do not write that in your answer. Please write the correct answer. Okay, so the next 2 questions are asking about the similarities and the differences between the plague and COVID-19. So you could use your Venn diagram that we took notes on to answer these questions, but your social studies teachers also want you to use evidence from the article. So the first question on this page reads, what similarities do you see in the way the plague and COVID-19 both spread? Use evidence from the article chunk to support your answer. So if you're doing this on paper, you may have underlined that evidence. If you're doing it in your Google Doc, you may have highlighted, or you may have just written it down in the Venn diagram. So all of those are great sources to help you answer these next 2 questions. So the plague and COVID-19 are similar because they both blank. So once again, I'm just going to type ASDF. That's my answer. And then what differences do you see in the way the plague and COVID-19 both spread? Use evidence from the article chunk to support your answer. So the plague and COVID-19 are different because they blank. So I'm going to write ASDF again. And then you notice it says a copy of your responses will be emailed, and this should be your email here. So once you're finished, you've read through everything, double check your answers, make sure your name's on it, all of the above. Click that submit button. Once you click that submit button, you have instructions. Good job. Now send this form to your English teacher! Exclamation point. You will get an email with your responses. Forward that email to your English teacher to submit it to them. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to go to your email and send that to your English teacher. Some of you may know how to do this and you may not need to watch that video. So if you don't, proceed on. And if you do need help, then click the next video and it'll be there to help you. Hey Southwest students, so this video is going to show you how to submit your answers to your English teachers. So you finished the work in Google Classroom, you've submitted your Google form in social studies. Now we need to get the answers to your English teachers so you get credit for the assignment in both classes. So go to your Gmail, open it up. You should look for the email that says Google Forms as the sender. So Google Forms will be here. And then 8th grade AMI Day 21 activity. Remember, mine says teacher example because I made an example to show you. So click that email, and then it will say, thanks for filling out this form. Here's what we got from you. So when you scroll down, you will see your answers in boxes like this. So here's my name. Here are my answers. And so now we need to send this to your English teachers. So what you're going to do is you're going to click the forward button. Okay, so my advice would be to start typing in your English teacher's last name. So since I'm Perkins, I'm going to send it to my English teacher who is Perkins. Here is my email address, so click it. Okay, If your teacher is Miss Ritter, then you're going to start typing in her last name, and she pops right up, and that will send it to Miss Ritter. If your English teacher is Balmer, see, he pops right up. And then if your English teacher is Stamper, she pops right up. Okay? So whoever your English teacher is, I'm going to send it to Perkins because it's me, so I'll be the only one that gets this email. So to Perkins, and all you're going to do is just click send. Don't have to do anything else. Okay? And then I will show you, as the teacher, this is the email that I will get. So it says me because I'm sending it to myself, but it'll say your name here instead of me. And then this is what I get from you. So I will open the email, and then it'll say whatever your name is to your English teacher. And I just click these little buttons here, and then I can see your answers, and I can give you a grade. Now, the only way I can give you a grade is if you forward this email to me. So if you don't forward this email to me, I will never be able to see your answers. So it's very, very, very important that you do this step. Okay? And as always, if you have any questions, email your English teacher or email your social studies teacher, and they can help you, and they would be more than happy to help you. So email your teachers if you have questions. Good luck. Happy reading.